أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال رب إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I intended to explain further the Surah Tauba, which we had been discussing in the previous lectures, because there are many points which could not be covered in a short period, and the events and the problems faced by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the challenging role played by the people of Medina against the two superpowers, along with the enemies in Mecca and Medina. All these were really very important to be discussed in detail, and I had intention to do so. However, meanwhile, yesterday, I came across a discussion on TV in the wake of the decision of the Supreme Court. The people participating were highly educated, so-called experts of constitution, law, and international affairs. And I was stunned to know from their discussion that they had no sorrow for what has been happening around Parliament and the area where these elections for the Senate were taking place, and forced the people to go to the Supreme Court for shelter. They had no sorrow for that affair, because they were the people who had been the top notch of the group, or the people who were running the affairs of the society for the last 30-40 years. If the society has so much of weaknesses still existing in them, I think, along with other people to be responsible, these experts were also responsible. But they were not ashamed of it. They were blaming others. So I thought that instead of Surah Tauba, I must take my nation to listen to Surah Nuh, because the problems, the vices, the sickness of the society prevailing nowadays in Pakistan and elsewhere in the Ummah, our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are more serious than the problems and the attitude and the illness, mental illness, characterlessness of the people who were addressed by Nuh alayhi salam many years ago. And the complaint he was lodging and the charge sheet which he was bringing to submit to the Almighty Allah was worse than and was more pathetic than the charge sheet which can be brought against us by our Prophet. The consequences and the calamities which befell to those people, we know that they are horrible. They were horrible and they are horrible still. The whole Ummah of Nuh alayhi salam was sunk in water, and their traces were also not visible. A new nation was formed, which is continuing till this day. Now, if we are having the same charge sheet to be against us, we ourselves analyze ourselves, then this is time for us to wake up, and alarm given to us by the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his companion later on, and all the ulama, even now, we are to be very careful about this society. Otherwise, if you walk in the society and you walk in the society, it's not a Muslim society. It's not like a Muslim society which was expected by Quran and by the Almighty from people who are responsible to give a treatment to the societies elsewhere. Now, what is the plight of the society will not be tolerated by Allah, the Almighty. Various other verses given in different places in Quran indicate that despite of the fact that Allah is very kind, but He doesn't spare those who become a source of pollution of the whole society. Ladies and gentlemen, the main theme of the charge sheet of Nuh alayhi salam was that his people do not listen to him, do not regard the message of Allah to be listened and followed. Are we not different from those people? Do we have attended Quranic warnings, Quranic invitations, and Quranic explanations of various nations who were punished by Allah? The same thing is to be considered, that we have absolutely no regard to Quran, and this is the last book. There is no other book coming. Therefore, today I venture to request everybody to turn over to attend Quran, read it and understand it. In fact, in Quran we have directives from the Almighty and our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to wake up and get out to rectify the illness and treat the illness available in the society. If you are sick ourselves, how can we treat other people? The corona pandemic was a very small warning. The consequences were not that serious as they were serious, and they can be serious in future if we do not wake up and we do not give proper respect to Quran and the Sunnah of Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I have already detailed discussion shared with you about the complaint, about the prosecution statement given by Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when he said to Almighty that his nation has gone out of range from Quran. Mahjura, when you distance yourself from a thing, or from a book, or from an instruction, then you can well imagine that if this prosecution is really considered, and will be considered, because Quran is the last book, and we are the last Ummah. Therefore, it is time for us, with us, that we should immediately correct ourselves, take guidance from Quran, and aid to the healthy atmosphere of the society, and at least stop pollution of the society, which has become intolerable to the people, to those who are weaker as compared to others. I feel confident that you will study yourself also Nuh alayhi salam complaint its cries after 950 years, which were responded immediately, and the whole Ummah was destroyed, and their cries were also not audible. Their condition was not visible because its punishment was very severe. I pray to Almighty that we are not confronted with such a punishment. Forgiveness is requested, and forgiveness is possible when we at least change our stance and give proper respect to Quran, study it and understand it and practice it. I pray that my request is responded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is very kind. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.